Hi guys, so welcome to my reading wrap up for the month of May. I think I read about 10 books this month, all pretty much on my Kindle, so bear with me while I have to edit in covers and stuff, but yeah, I'm definitely reading more on my Kindle than I am physical books. But yeah, so the first book that I read this month was Blank Canvas by Liberty Parker. And this is the first book in the Divas Inc. series, and I really liked the look of this because it reminded me of Jay Crownover's books about, you know, with all the tattoos, and that book's sort of about male tattooists kind of, and I thought, oh, this is going to be like a flip of that, and it wasn't really. I think the series could probably, because it was the first book, I think the series could probably get better as it goes on, but I don't know if or when I will pick up the next book in the series. It was okay. I can't even remember the characters' names now, but one is part of like a group of sisters that owns and runs a tattoo studio, and then her mum is involved in a fire, and then she meets this doctor, and she always had a crush on him when they were at school, and it was kind of a whirlwind. There was no real character building, no relationship building, it just kind of happened. All the main things were there for a good sort of romantic story with, you know, like a edgy twist, but it never really happened. It all just happened too quickly. There was no real development, and you just didn't see it. You were told it, not shown it, and yeah, it was okay. I ended up giving it about 2.5 out of 5. Like I say, I think the next book in the series there could be improvement, as this is the first book in the series, but it didn't make me rush to download the next book in the series. So the next book that I read was If Only I Had a Duke by Lenora Bell. And I picked this up because I read a Lenora Bell book last month. It's a sort of Regency historical romance, and I enjoyed this one, but not quite as much as I enjoyed the one from last month, which was What a Difference a Duke Makes. I enjoyed that one much more than this one. It was okay, just I found it a little slower going and didn't love the characters as much in this one as I did in the other one, but overall it was still a really good sort of historical romance, and I ended up giving it 3 out of 5. The next book that I read was Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole. This is a bit of a weird one for me because, as you guys know, or you should know if you followed my channel for any length of time, that I absolutely adore Tilly Cole's books. Like, I absolutely love her as an author. She's one of my favourites. Her Hades Hangmen series is actually one of my all-time favourite series. I think she's fantastic. And I'd had Sick Fucks on my Kindle really from the time it came out, but I hadn't read it, so I decided, you know, this month I was going to read it because it's kind of a standalone for her, and I didn't love it. Like, it's quite distressing to read, which is not unusual for her books because her Hades Hangman books are quite dark. You know, they start off with women that have been abused in a cult which uses scripture to justify paedophilia, basically, in that series. So that kind of thing is not new to her books, but in this one it was just not kind of done in the same way. The two characters, who I can't remember his name, I remember hers is Ellis. Oh, Ellis and Heathen are their actual names, and they meet when they're young, and Heathen's quite disturbed anyway. Like, we're introduced to him when he's 8 or 9, I think, ripping wings off butterflies, so quite disturbed anyway. Ellis is quite bubbly, quite fun. She lives in a make-believe land. She loves Alice in Wonderland. So she dresses like Alice. So they're an unlikely friendship, but they do become friends, and then basically they are traumatized because they find out that Ellis's father basically runs a paedophile ring, and so they start getting abused, and then Heathen is sent away, and then he comes back to rescue Ellis, but, you know, her mind's completely cracked, and they are basically both extremely messed up in the head. Like, you can understand that because they go through something absolutely horrendous, but it's kind of hard to warm to them as characters because they are just the way that they think. It's very hard to get into their minds. Not that you would want to be there, but as characters you would need to be able to kind of do that. And these characters, I found it very jumpy, the way that they thought, the way that they spoke, how they end up from place to place. I found it very jumpy. And like, you can understand them wanting to take revenge. Basically it's a revenge story. It's them hunting down and destroying all the people that hurt them, which, you know, I'm all up for that. That's not like that's not the bad storyline, but they are, the way that they behave as well to each other, how they interact. It's very hard to root for them as a couple because it's almost like they don't go together. It's very, very hard for me to explain, but part of me loved the whole idea of it. And it's, you know, these people that come together and they want to hunt down everybody that hurt them so they can get on with their lives. But you kind of think even after they've done this to people, they are not going to, you know, be redeemable or lovable characters. So it was just a bit of an odd one. Definitely not your typical romance novel, so there is that. But yeah, I just found it very hard reading, and yeah, I didn't find myself loving the characters together, which, you know, I can pretty much cope with any storyline, whatever, if I can root for the characters being together, and that they mesh well. But I didn't really find that with this one. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that, so I ended up giving it sort of around the 2.5, 3 out of 5 mark, which for a Tilly Cole book feels really strange for me. I didn't like not liking it, if that makes sense. So the next book that I read was a little Kristen Proby novella that was called Burn With Me. This was an interesting one because it's sort of set within her With Me in Seattle series. But it's a little novella, and it's a bit of a weird one because it's basically a male, female, male novel, so one woman, two men, and I've not really read a lot into that genre. It's just not something that appeals to me, but I read it because I love Kristen Proby and I love her With Me in Seattle series, and I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. It just seems to be, I'm gonna completely go 180 with this in a minute, but it was just odd for me, and I didn't hate the characters, didn't hate the writing or anything like that. It was just not my normal Kristen Proby, and I think because it wasn't like her normal romance novels, I didn't like it quite as much, so I ended up giving it 2.5 out of 5. So the next book, well, it's not really a book, it's kind of, again, sort of a novella by Kristen Proby, and that's Grow With Me. This is again set within her With Me in Seattle series, and it follows, it's like a catch-up, you can't even call it a book, but it's like a little bit of a catch-up with two of the characters, Meg and Will from Play With Me, and it's just catching up with them, seeing where they are in their life, and basically they are literally just about to have their baby, and then you kind of see them just before, and then it's just really, really, really cute. I really love her With Me in Seattle series. That is what the series that started me reading Kristen Proby, so it was really nice to catch up with those early characters, see where they are, and I really hope that she releases some more like little novella type things. This she actually uploaded to her website to read on her website, but I really hope she does a few more of those with some of the other characters. Mainly I think is it Jules and Nate from book 2. They are two of my favourite characters, so I would like to see sort of where they are. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. So the next book that I read was The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I actually uploaded a completely separate review on this book, so if you want to check that out, it is on my channel. Basically, it feels, I said this in my review, it feels really weird to say I loved this book, I enjoyed this book, because it's very heavy subject material. It is based on a true story. It is told as a novel, but it is someone's real story. The character of Lael is a real person, or he was a real person. He passed away in 2006, I think it was. So knowing as you're reading this that this is someone's actual story and they have told it to someone so they can tell you, is very sort of hard hitting. Obviously the Holocaust and the concentration camps are a dark time in history, and it's very hard hitting. but the kind of story, you kind of love Lael. He really fought to get out of there. Like, he said that he would make it out, and he did. And it was the story of how he fell in love with a woman in there called Gita, and the fact that he fought for her as well. It was just a very touching story, and I would recommend it to absolutely everyone that you read it. I recommended it to my boss at work, and she read it and she devoured it as well. So I've set her off on a whole other path of reading now. But yeah, that one was fantastic, and I gave it 5 out of 5, even though it's very hard to rate something like that. But my reading experience of it meant I had to give it 5 out of 5. The next book I read was To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This book, I absolutely loved it. It's about killer sirens. Absolutely loved it. I'd had it on my Kindle, I think, a month or 2 months before I actually read it. But I wish I'd picked it up sooner, because I absolutely devoured this book. So it's basically about a siren called Lyra, and she is the daughter of the Sea Queen. And Lyra is basically known as the Prince's Bane. She hunts and kills princes. She doesn't kill any other sailors, any other humans. She just kills princes. Sorry, my voice is going. So she's known as the Prince's Bane. And then our other protagonist is basically Ilian, and he is a prince and also a siren hunter. So he is travelling the seas to try and rid the ocean of sirens, and then their paths meet, and the story goes from there. Really, really good. I was really rooting for a romance between the two of them, because you're just like, you know, siren killer, prince killer. So I was really hoping for a romance, and I did get one, but it is in no way the focus of the story. Well, it kind of is and it kind of isn't, but it's like, it's not all mushy and kissing, and it's not a romance book. It is kind of a quest book. It's really, really good. It's kind of like a dark retelling or reimagining of The Little Mermaid, and it is really, really good. I highly recommend it. I loved it. I would give it 5 out of 5. And then the last book that I read was Crux Untamed by Tilly Cole. So this is book 6 in her Hades Hangman series. As I mentioned earlier, the Hades Hangman series is my absolute favourite series by Tilly Cole. After reading Sick Fucks and not enjoying it, I'm surprised that I picked up Crux Untamed. But I am also surprised that it took me so long to read it, because normally with the Hades Hangman series, I'm reading them as soon as they hit my Kindle. Like, I'm stopping everything else and reading them. But this one, I think, came out in February, and I hadn't read it yet. So I just bit the bullet and went for it. And I think the reason that I didn't start reading it as soon as it hit my Kindle, like I have with every other Hades Hangman book, is because it's another male-female male romance type setup. Like I said earlier with the Kristen Proby book, that's not my kind of genre. That really doesn't do it for me, you know, 2 males, 1 female. It's not something that I'm overly comfortable reading, because I am at heart a romantic, particularly with my reading and my novels. I like, you know, normally I'm quite sad in the way I like alpha, possessive, jealous, protective males, and a female, you know, like that's and with the Hades Hangman books, that's what we've got. We've had not weak females, because they've gone through an awful lot, the females in the Hades Hangman series, but they are in need of protecting because of what they've gone through. So I was like, how is this going to work with 2 males? Because, you know, normally they're quite, you know, jealous and stuff. How is it going to work with 2 males? So anyway, I downloaded it and started reading it, and Tilly Cole did it in such a really, really fantastic way. So Hush, one of the Hades Hangmen, he's very quiet, very, not shy, but was withdrawn. And Cowboy, another member of the Hades Hangmen, he is very flirty, very outgoing, very charming. And the two of them basically are very close friends. They have a history together, and they are Cajun, so they have these, you know, sexy accents. And then Sia is the sister of Kai, the vice president of the motorcycle club, and she has gone through a horrific past herself. She's pretty much scarred, and she lives on a secluded ranch tending to horses. She just wants to basically be left alone. And then basically the story is about the three of them. I'm not going to say it's my favourite book in the Hades Hangman series, because it's not. Because the male-female male thing, while she did it in a way that as I was reading it I was like, okay, this is a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more believable. She's doing it in a way where I can see how this is going to work as a dynamic, but for the most part that's still not my thing. But it was a good addition to the Hades Hangman series, and I am so looking forward to the next two books, because we are going to get Tanner's book. He is an ex KKK member, and he's sort of become a Hades Hangman member, and then the book after that is Vikings. So yeah, not my favourite instalment of the series, but I am excited to still see where the series is going to go. So that's everything that I read this month, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Happy reading.